Hello, welcome to Street Moto Z. This is part of the Ride Safe series. I'm going to mention 10 ways to be in the right place as you're riding your motorcycle on the street. So 10 ways to be in the right place when you're riding your motorcycle on the street. Number 1 is to be in motorcycle lane number 1. So this is motorcycle lane number 1. The middle of the car lane is motorcycle lane number 2, which is right here. And motorcycle lane number 3 is on the far right, right here. But the best place to be is in motorcycle lane number 1, and there's a couple of reasons. One reason is you are letting all the cars know around you that this is your car lane, and don't try to pull over. You have a bubble around you, so the cars will respect a little bit of that bubble if they see you. The second good thing about being in motorcycle lane number 1 is that the car in front of you can see you through his left mirror, and they can see you in their rear view mirror. If you're in motorcycle lane number 2, they can't see you in the left or right mirror, only the middle mirror. If you're in motorcycle lane number 3, they can't see you in the left mirror, the middle mirror, only in the right mirror. And most car riders don't check that right mirror. They don't really care. So be sure when you're driving around town in the city to stay in motorcycle lane number 1 and ride safe. Number 2, to be in the right place, you have to respect people's space. When you talk with somebody, you don't put your face right up next to theirs to talk to them. No, they have an invisible bubble around them, and you respect their space. You don't get up in their face too close. Like this truck right here. I'm not going to get too close behind him because he might back up. I'm going to give me a good way to get around him if I need to. So cars have a medium-sized bubble. Big trucks have a large-sized bubble. 18-wheelers have a really big bubble. You want to give them a lot of space, the 18-wheelers. Motorcycles have a small bubble. You can see motorcycle riders almost riding in tandem or in a staggered formation on the same car lane. So respect everybody's bubble and make sure they respect your bubble too. Number 3, another way to be in the right place is to watch out for open lane situations. So if you're on a road like this one, where there's 2 lanes going one direction and 2 lanes going the other direction, sometimes one of those lanes is opened up and the other one is full of cars. That one that's open is called the open lane. If you go dashing down that open lane when the other lane is full of cars, one of those cars, or 2 of those cars, you know, those people are trying to get where they're going, and some of them just can't wait, and so they pull into that open lane without looking very well, and they could pull right into you or right in front of you. So slow down on those open lane situations. There's a lot of motorcycle accidents that happen that way. Here's a good example of an open lane situation. If I wanted to pull over into this left-hand lane and zip down it really fast, or just try to get up really quick to try to get where I'm going, one of these cars in front of me could pull over and try to do the same thing I'm doing. Number 4, stay a safe distance between you and the car in front of you. The old 4-second rule is always good to apply. Be at least 4 seconds between you and the car in front of you. So with this truck, I'm going to count 4 seconds at the next light pole. See where the truck is? All right, 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Oh, a little too close. Let's try it at the next light pole. And it just takes a little bit of practice with this to figure out the distance that you need to be between you and the car in front of you. All right, let's try it with this car. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000. So I was plenty at a really good distance between me and the car in front of me. It gives me time to do a stop if I need to, or slow down, and it also gives me a chance to assess what's going on with that car. That car could be making a right or a left, and it would give me a chance to slow down if they decide to stop in the middle of the road trying to make that turn. Number 5, stay out of blind spots. That's another reason that you want to get in this lane that you're in motorcycle lane number 1, so you can see ahead of you. You can see the car in front of the car in front of you. Preferably if you could see further on down, that's even best, but sometimes like on this turn you can't, so you just try to see as far as you can. If I was in motorcycle lane number 2, that car in front of me would be creating a blind spot for me. They're already creating somewhat of a blind spot over on the right side of the road. Just watch out for blind spots. Try to make sure you can see everything around you, everything going on behind you. Make sure your mirrors are working. Make sure you can see in front of you, down the road. Try to stay in motorcycle lane number 1 to see down the road. And you don't want to be right next to a car. You don't want to be in their blind spot either. Most cars have blind spots, and those are just behind them on either side. So for example, this car right here that's parked, let's say it was riding down the road, and I was riding right here next to them. This is their blind spot. If they look in their rearview mirror, they can't really see me very good, kind of see past me, behind me. If they look in their left mirror, they kind of see right beside me, behind me. If they look in their rearview mirror, they can't see me, so they turn on their turn signal, hopefully. Most of them do. A lot of them don't. And they pull over into my lane, and I'm sitting right here, maybe speeding up on them a little bit. Also, this car has another blind spot on both sides. This is a blind spot for them. So if this is a 2-lane road and I was riding here and just riding right next to them, they don't see me. They can't look in their rearview mirror and see me. I didn't know somebody was in that car. I think I scared him. They had very dark tinted windows. There's some other blind spots. 18-wheelers, if you're riding next to them, they have difficulty seeing you. So if you're on the interstate and there's 18-wheelers and you're going to pass one, don't piddle around and ride next to them. You need to get around them. Another blind spot for cars is if you're riding really fast and coming up on cars and passing them at a higher rate of speed than they're driving. They may have checked their mirrors to see if you're there, and they don't see anybody behind them, so then they just start pulling over into the other lane. But because you're driving at a high rate of speed, you may have gotten up to them and they may be pulling right over into you in front of you. So when you're approaching cars, it's best not to approach them at a high rate of speed and pass them at a high rate of speed. It's best to pass at about 10 or 15 miles per hour faster than they're going, or even 5 miles per hour faster. Number 6, sometimes you may be riding around the road in the right place, and then a car comes up and starts tailgating you. Then all of a sudden you're not in the right place. If that car starts tailgating you, you can push your hand back like this and ask them to get off your butt. You may have to do it a couple times because they could be on their phone. So try to get them to back off of you. If they don't back off of you, then move on into the other lane or speed up and get away from them. But try to get them to back off from you first. So you don't want anybody tailgating you. If you need to stop quick, they're going to be slamming into you if they're tailgating you. Now, something you see a lot on the interstate, especially in the United States, is cars clogging up the left lane. Everybody camping in that left lane wanting to go faster than the people in the right lane. And you end up with a lot more cars in the left lane, almost bunched up in that left lane as far as you can see, and then the cars in the right lane are going just a little bit slower, but they're spaced out better. it's safer to make sure that you have enough space between you and the car in front of you and between you and the car behind you. So a lot of times in that situation, it's better just to drive in the right lane and stay out of that left lane on the interstate with all those left lane drivers. So number eight, don't camp in the left lane on the interstates with your motorcycle. Sometimes it's easier just to get in that left lane and just stay in it because you don't have to switch lanes. But that is a passing lane. It's best to drive mature and don't just stay in that left-hand lane all the time. Use it for passing only. Again, unless the cars are just on the left and right lane are full, then you just want to be in whatever lane is safest for you. Even South Carolina has a state law that the left lane is for passing only. And if you're in the left lane just cruising along, camping in the left lane, you could be pulled over and given a ticket. I heard a friend of mine was pulled over in Georgia for just cruising in the left lane, and he got a $500+ ticket in Georgia for that. So if you're riding your car or motorcycle, just use that left lane for passing if you can. Number 9, this is a unique situation. If you're out on the road by yourself and there's no vehicles in front of you or behind you, you have to be a bit more cautious than normal. Why do you ask that? There's no cars around you. Well, cars pulling into the road may not see anybody. They might not see you, and they just may pull right in front of you. If you have cars in front of you, you at least have some blockers, kind of like in football. If there's something that happens up ahead, those cars in front of you will block for you and knock those cars out of the way for you. If there's cars behind you and they know you're there and they're cruising and keeping a good distance, then any speeders that are running behind you, drinking that alcohol, drunk or whatever they are, they will hit that car before they hit you. So it is pretty good to have blockers in front and behind you as long as they know you're there and you're keeping a safe distance from them. Number 10, the last right place to be in is to be in a spot where you have an escape route. So if you're in lane number 1 and there's cars in front of you and somebody's coming up fast behind you, your escape route is to go in between the cars and get up ahead a little bit and let that car behind you hit somebody else. Or if you're driving here and the left is not open and there's a car coming up behind you really fast about to hit you, then get out of the way and go around the right side of the car. Make sure you have that escape route. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. And remember, it's not about the destination, it's about the ride, baby! Woo! Yeah! Still got my Dragonfly, buddy.